Unless you live under a rock, you've probably heard of the SpaceX IPO, the biggest IPO in history, targeting a valuation of $1.75 trillion. To put into perspective just how big that number is, that would make SpaceX worth more than Walmart, Netflix, Uber, Airbnb, Nike, Starbucks, and Boeing combined. The second SpaceX starts trading, it's going to instantly become one of the most valuable companies on the entire planet. So the question is who is actually going to be buying SpaceX at these ridiculous valuations? Well, the answer is it's going to be you. But not because you manually open up your brokerage account and buy SpaceX stock individually, but because your retirement accounts, your index funds, your ETFs will be buying it for you. And the sad part is you have no say in it at all. That's because Nasdaq recently introduced a rule change that could make it much easier for a company like SpaceX to get added into the Nasdaq 100 almost immediately after going public, which normally it would take a couple months for that to happen. But before we get into that rule change, you need to understand why the SpaceX IPO matters so much in the first place. Because for a valuation this massive to make any sense, you have to understand how SpaceX actually operates. If you ask a random person what SpaceX does, their answers are probably going to be something like rockets, satellites, maybe even Mars. And while all those answers are technically true, it's not the big picture. SpaceX is not just one business anymore. It's basically three different businesses wrapped into one company. There's the rocket business, which gets all the attention. There's Starlink, which is probably the most important part of the whole company financially. And then there's xAI, which is the part of the story that makes this IPO a lot messier than most people realize. The piece most investors are not thinking about when they hear SpaceX IPO is xAI. This is Elon Musk's AI company, which was launched in 2023 to compete with OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and every other major AI company in the space. And according to reports, SpaceX acquired xAI in an all-stock deal where the combined company value was around $1.25 trillion, with xAI alone being valued at about $250 billion. Now, if an AI company is being valued at $250 billion, you would assume it's in amazing shape. You would assume it has massive revenue, a great outlook, a strong team, and a clear path to profitability. But according to some of the data online, this is not exactly the case for xAI. xAI reportedly started with 11 co-founders from places like DeepMind, OpenAI, Google, basically some of the biggest and brightest names in the AI space. But by 2025, the company was supposedly burning more than $1 billion per month, and by March, every single one of those original 11 co-founders had left. That's when Elon Musk posted on Twitter that xAI needed to be rebuilt from the foundations up, and that is not exactly what you want to hear from a company being valued at $250 billion. To make the valuation even crazier, OpenAI reportedly generates about $24 billion in annual revenue and is valued around $850 billion. Anthropic generates more than $30 billion in annual revenue and is valued at around $400 billion. But with xAI, they're doing about $1 billion in revenue, but somehow are valued at $250 billion. Make that make sense. Now let's talk about the part everyone actually knows and loves about SpaceX, the rocket business. This is the SpaceX people picture in their head. Rockets launching into the sky, going to Mars, NASA missions, and astronauts being sent into space. But here's the problem. The rocket business gets all the headlines in the press, but it does not generate enough money on its own to justify a $1.75 trillion valuation. And according to reports, the rocket side of the business generated about $4 billion in revenue last year, which sounds great until you compare it to a nearly $2 trillion valuation. And even more importantly, the rocket business reportedly made up only about 1/4 of SpaceX's total revenue. Just a quarter. So yes, the rocket business is incredible, but if SpaceX were only a rocket company, we would probably not be talking about the biggest IPO in history. Which brings us to the part investors actually care the most about when it comes to SpaceX, Starlink. This is the piece that somewhat justifies this massive valuation. It's a satellite internet company that beams the internet from orbit down to Earth instead of just depending on cables, fiber lines, or cell towers like every other company nowadays. Because Starlink is not just selling internet to a few rural homes. It has the potential to serve planes, ships, remote businesses, disaster zones, developing countries, and even places where traditional internet providers either can't reach or don't want to go. Starlink launched in beta in 2020 and since then has now become one of the fastest scaling telecom businesses ever. It now has more than 10,000 satellites in orbit. Those satellites communicate with dishes on the ground, and somehow the whole system works well enough that people are using it in homes, boats, airplanes, and areas that have terrible internet connection. This is why investors are obsessed with Starlink. It's not just a side project, it could become one of the most important internet companies in the world. And the numbers are what makes this even more interesting. According to reports, Starlink has grown to more than 10 million active subscribers across over 150 countries. In 2025, Starlink reportedly brought in about $11.4 billion in revenue, which made up about 61% of SpaceX's total revenue for the year. But the most impressive part of all of this is not just the revenue, it's the margins. Because according to reports, Starlink's profit margins were around 41% 2 years ago, and now they're about 63%. That means the business grew margins by more than 20% in just 2 years. So Starlink is not just growing, it's becoming more profitable as it grows as well, and that's what investors care about the most. Now, all this sounds great, but here is where the story of SpaceX gets dangerous. At a $1.75 trillion valuation, the market is not pricing SpaceX like a company that might succeed. It's pricing SpaceX like it's already succeeded. Most people don't realize that Starlink has to keep growing. The margins have to keep improving. The rocket business has to keep growing. There's a lot of things that have to go right to justify this crazy valuation. And according to a report, Starlink and the rocket business together brought in about $8 billion in profit in 2025, which sounds great and looks great on the balance sheet until you remember the AI side of the company changes the whole picture. Once you include XAI's number, instead of being profitable, now the company lost about $5 billion on about $18.5 billion in revenue. Now, to go back to the original question, who is buying SpaceX at these crazy valuations? Because this is where the real story begins. The SpaceX IPO is not just about rockets, it's about how the financial system could create automatic demand for one of the most hyped companies in the world, just at the exact same time that early investors finally get liquidity. On May 1st, Nasdaq adopted a new fast entry rule, and with SpaceX reportedly targeting a June IPO, the timing is pretty convenient for them. Under the old rules, a newly listed company had to wait at least 3 months before it could be added to the Nasdaq 100. That waiting period mattered because it gave the market enough time to figure out what the stock was actually worth before passive funds like ETFs and index funds were forced to buy it. But under this new rule, companies can now be added just after 15 days of trading. So instead of having 3 months of price discovery and people pricing in what SpaceX would actually be worth, now we have to do it, and it all happens in just about 2 to 3 weeks. And this matters a lot because the Nasdaq 100 is one of the most important indexes in the world. More than 200 investment products with over $600 billion in assets track that index. So when a company gets added, funds that follow that index have to buy this new company, which in this case would be SpaceX. They don't buy because they love the business, they buy because the index tells them to buy. That is the power of passive investing with ETFs and index funds. Most of the times, passive investing is great. It gives people low fees, diversification, and an easy way to build wealth. But the part that people don't talk about is that passive money doesn't ask questions. If a company gets added to the index, the fund has to buy it, even if it's expensive, even if it just went public, even if the float is small, which is also a big concern. Because if SpaceX gets added into a major index shortly after going public, it could create forced demand before the market really has time to decide whether the company is worth it or not. And then there's also the float issue with SpaceX. Float just means how many shares are actually available for regular investors to buy and sell. A company can have a massive valuation, but if only a small percentage of shares are actually actually trading, supply is then limited. And when demand is huge but supply is tiny, prices can get distorted really fast. Under the old rules, a company needed at least 10% of its shares available to the public to qualify for the Nasdaq 100, but SpaceX is targeting a free float of about just 4 to 5%. Under the old rules, that would not have qualified, but with the new rules, that minimum is now gone. So you can even do 1% of free float. Think about it like a limited sneaker drop. There are only a few thousand pairs available for the public, but millions of people want them, and even retailers are also required to buy that inventory as well. The price isn't going up because the sneakers are suddenly worth more money. It's going up because the supply and demand is set up to be completely distorted. This is exactly what can happen with a low float IPO. If SpaceX releases only a small slice of shares to the public, and then retail investors, institutions, ETFs, and even index funds all try to buy at the same time, the stock can get pushed up very fast. And who benefits from that? Well, it's not you and me, it's the people who already own SpaceX shares. So the early investors, insiders, employees, people whose average cost is going to be way lower than the IPO price. It sounds harsh, but this is how IPOs work. An IPO is not just a celebration, it's basically a liquidity event. It allows early investors, employees, and insiders to turn private ownership into real money. And there's nothing illegal about this. This is perfectly fine, but regular investors need to understand what role they're playing when they're buying these IPOs. Because Wall Street will sell this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to buy a great stock and make a lot of money. And maybe it will be, but this is also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for early investors to cash out at one of the highest valuations in the world. And this is not just for SpaceX. OpenAI and Anthropic are also reportedly looking at a IPO listing later this year, and they might use the same structure. The trap is not SpaceX is a bad company. SpaceX might be one of the greatest companies ever built. The trap is buying after the private market has already marked up the price. The trap is thinking this is a guaranteed investment return because everyone is talking about it. So before you get excited about buying SpaceX, ask the question nobody wants to ask. Are you buying the future, or are you buying someone else's exit? Because sometimes the most exciting IPO in history is also the one where regular investors will lose the most amount of money.